Jeff, welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Thanks, Dave. Glad to be here.
So what is your net worth, sir?
$2.8 million.
My name is Jeff Foster, and this is Dee, my wife. We live in Buford, Georgia, which is a suburb of Atlanta. I think the majority of the millionaires are more like us, people that have worked all their lives and saved, and yes, we're millionaires, but you know, we go to Walmart, we have $20 jeans.
I just basically come from a blue-collar family. I mean, my dad worked 60 hours a week.
My father was a janitor. He worked weekends painting houses.
And throughout your working lifetime, what was your average income?
Probably about $125K. My very first year was $13,000.
So early in my life, I was a computer technician and was doing well. And we had this major installation, and my 40-hour work week went to 80. So I started spending on the 80-hour level, not the 40. And then the hours went back. But the habits that I'd gotten were pretty bad habits. And so it took me a while, several months, and paying minimum on credit cards killed me. I hated it. And so once I got to that point that I got that debt paid off, I said, you know, no more, never. A few years go by and Dee and I get married. The first year is always a little bit of a challenge, right, as newlyweds. I came from a strict family. I'd already gone through my challenges of how and when to use credit cards.
Yeah, and I didn't have a lot of my own intention with money, you know.
There would become a credit card problem, right? And she was spending more than she could or should from our, you know, family budget. At some point, the frustration went kind of underground, and she got her own credit cards and started spending. And there was some, you know, probably a couple of years.
Very tense, emotional couple of years.
Yeah. And so it got to a point that, you know, it was almost at a divorce level.
If you don't agree on something, you really need to speak up on it. If it leads to an argument, so be it. You're not going to hash anything out unless you talk about it. If you don't sit down and talk about it, you're never going to be on the same page.
After we got on the same page, we were able to start doing more, right? And as every raise that came in, a good portion of that, you know, went into retirement. And so that's where we started building that percentage from a small number, you know, to a big number. I didn't know Dave Ramsey at the time, but ironically started following those kind of principles, and 5% in the 401k, went to 6%, went to 7%. So being able to invest in the 401k and buying mutual funds in multiple different companies, very similar to Dave Ramsey's perspective. And today, it's probably 25 or 30% of my salary is going to retirement. I think it's probably been, you know, 5 or 6 years since we've been a millionaire, but again, it didn't change our lifestyle or what we did or how we did it. And so I think that's the value. It takes a long time. So a couple of years ago, when I started listening to the Dave Ramsey podcast, it kind of reconfirmed in a lot of cases the things that I was already doing, but it made some adjustments, and it kind of think it even helped her more in, you know, seeing this is not my way, it's lots of people's way. And then we you know, went to the kids, and both kids, Eric and Tina, both read Total Money Makeover, you know, and it's like, okay, yeah, I did what you said, Dad, I read the book. But then there were trips, you know, where we would have a family trip. There were hunting trips where Eric and I went, or Tina and I went. That deer came from Indiana, and there were, you know, if it's to Colorado, it's a 24-hour drive. Lots of Dave Ramsey segments, 1-hour segments, can be heard in 24 hours. Our kids and our friends and relatives are really starting to catch on the fundamentals of the 7 baby steps. If you're, you know, at least getting through steps 1, 2, and 3, then, you know, you're moving in the right direction, and, you know, in the future, maybe you can get all the way to step 7. Looking even more forward, you know, I expect to pretty close double my wealth that I have today in the next 5 to 6 years. But it is less about doubling the money and more about leaving a legacy to my children, to my friends. We want to be able to share the same, number one, failures that we've done, and the successes that we've had, and to be able to share that so they can, you know, be able to be just as successful as us. So leaving the legacy of who we are, what we do, how we do it, and being able to share that experience is, you know, important to both of us. Being a millionaire means knowing I'll be comfortable when he quits working,
but knowing that I don't have to worry about where my next meal's coming from or where I'm going to live. That's basically what a millionaire is to me.